Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2022 NCAA West Regional here in Loveland Practice Day Press Conference. We're joined by representatives of the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. We have head coach Scott Sandelin and student athletes Noah Cates, Ryan Fanti, and Matt Anderson. The Bulldogs will be taking on the number 3 seed Michigan Tech Huskies on Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to open up our news conference here with a quick opening statement from Coach Sandelin, and then also a question for each of the players before we open it up for the media. So, Coach, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Again, it's exciting to be back in the tournament. I know our guys are thrilled to be here, and obviously coming off a couple really good weekends, we're excited to get back playing. We know tomorrow is obviously going to be a very, very difficult game. Anytime you get to this point, everybody's a really good hockey team, so but we're just looking forward to it. I think a couple months ago or a month and a half ago, maybe we weren't sure where we were going to be. This is the goal that this team has had since day one, and they've accomplished that. So on to the next step, which is tomorrow's game. So again, we're excited to get going.
For you, Noah, you've seen this team progress throughout the year. You guys seem like you're hitting it at the right time, especially after a Frozen Face-Off championship. What's worked for this team over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, we kind of had a new mindset coming into playoffs, fresh start. Just kind of a new season for us. We're having a lot of fun, so we like being together. We enjoy these road trips, so we enjoy being around each other, and we're just having fun playing with each other, and we want to keep going.
For you, Ryan, you've really, to piggyback what Noah was saying, you guys have been, especially you yourself and Go, have been lights out recently. What are you just in a different mode, or what's going on with you right now in your play?
You get a little bit of confidence rolling, and I think like at any time of the year or with any player, once you get a little bit of confidence, it starts to build and kind of get better and better as it goes on. So, I guess it kind of started with playoffs, like individually and collectively, and I think that's just kind of continued to grow with a couple big character wins in St. Cloud on the road, and then followed by a couple really exciting ones in the NCAC tournament. So I think that's kind of where we're at and what we're trying to build on individually and collectively both.
And Matt, you've been through a lot of these national tournaments before. What makes maybe this year unique to what you've maybe experienced before?
I don't know. I think it was obviously fun to come out to a different place out here in Colorado, but I think the goal's the same, just keep playing hard, play our game, and go as far as we can.
We're going to open up for questions. Please raise your hand and we'll get you guys a mic. Matt Wellens with the Duluth News Tribune.
Matty, number 4 now for you for being in the NCAA tournament. I'm wondering, what do you remember about the first time you were in this tournament and such, and anything from that experience stand out now, and what's it like 5 years later to still be doing this and still on a roll like this?
Definitely doesn't get old. It's super fun. Every year is different, obviously, with the first year kind of barely getting in, and then the second year obviously being one of the better teams all year. But it never gets old. Still super excited to just get to the game tomorrow and play our game. So really looking forward to it for sure.
Bruce?
For Noah or for Matt, no offense, Ryan. You guys have won national championships. Whether it's the last 2 weeks or now, how much does that experience matter now?
Yeah, I think it's critical moving forward. Just kind of the older guys that have done it, their mindset, kind of how we approach the games, and this week with the younger guys and showing them how big this is for the program and for each guy individually. My freshman year, we kind of saw this was our toughest game, the first one. So there's no bad teams. Kind of like what Coach mentioned, everyone's here for a reason, and everyone's tough in their own ways. So you really got to be dialed in and focused every shift.
Matt Wellens up front.
Any of the players, you guys can all jump in on this. Coach, I think it was the end of the regular season there, called you guys the Christmas team for some of the turnovers that were happening. What was the key to cleaning that up, and how smart do you feel this team has been with the puck, and how important that has been on the run that you guys have been on? And maybe Ryan, you can start. Just how have you seen this team tighten up defensively in front of you?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think we went through, a little bit of a tough time, after Christmas and then for a little bit of a stretch there. But I think I've really seen like our team kind of come together and really play for kind of the team as a whole, and really no one's making any selfish plays out there. I think that was one of the main messages going into the games last weekend. It was kind of radiating it around the room, and everyone was reinforcing it in the sense of we had a little bit of a lead, and we can't play selfish hockey at all. We have to really kind of stick to the game plan and get things out of our zone, get things in their zone, and kind of go from there. So I think that's kind of one way that we've gone into it, especially these last 4 games, and one way that we're going to try and continue to do that. You need to play so tight defensively this time of year. I mean, you don't really have time to have a slow start or make any big mistakes that are costly. You need to keep the ball rolling and make sure you're tight as a team all the time.
Scott Strandy.
Ryan, this one's for you. You guys had a great weekend, not allowing any goals in the frozen face-off. Is that a peak, or how do you build on that for the next 2 weekends, hopefully?
Yeah, definitely not looking at it as a peak, because that would mean it's all downhill from here. So definitely just going to try and keep getting higher and higher as a team, and extending that peak for another 4 games is the goal. I don't think it's as high as we can go. I think it's kind of just a little bit of what we can get to, and it's kind of shown what we can get to all year. But it kind of just everything is starting to come together right now, and really confident in this group. And these 2 guys beside me, I think, have been paramount in that from the back end and Noah at the front. So I think everyone's coming together at the right time.
Noah and Matt, you guys have been through these playoff runs before. Goal scorers get a lot of attention in the postseason, but who stood out to you guys defensively that has really been key to help lock things down and help lead to back-to-back shutouts at the frozen faceoff?
Without being too obvious, obviously Ryan played very well, but I think our whole D-corps as a whole played very well. I thought we kept it more simple than maybe we have in the past, and just really stuck to our game plan.
Yeah, I think up front our centers have been awesome. Penalty kill's been awesome, but Casey Gilling and Jesse Jocks have been really strong, and then our two freshman centers have been awesome. So that's critical, kind of moving down the stretch here when we're playing some bigger, faster, harder teams. Those younger guys are bought in, and we're all on the same page, kind of in that D zone, and that we don't have any lapses in that area.
Noah, this one's for you. Being the captain of this team and everything that you've had to experience this year, you've had COVID, injuries, World Juniors, Olympics. How have you been able to keep this team cohesively together?
Yeah, we've had some ups and downs throughout the year. I think kind of the downs have made us stronger, and kind of like we've been saying, we're peaking at the right time, putting it all together at the right time. So we kind of flushed all that with the regular season. We had a kind of disappointing end, and kind of came together that week going into playoffs. Kind of all just kind of had a little discussion of where we wanted to go, where this team wanted to go, and we just have such good leaders and great experience that we know what it takes, and we know how awesome this ride is, and this group's just having a ton of fun, like I said, and we don't want it to end. This group's really special, and we want to keep playing and keep moving on together. So I think there was kind of some trying times throughout the year, but it's just making us stronger now and making us want it even more.
Ryan, I talked to your fellow goalies, Zach and Patter. They said you're not as quirky as your predecessor, Shep, in there, but you're still a goalie, so you got quirks. What's your biggest superstition, or maybe your biggest quirk?
I honestly don't think I have one. I used to have a lot in juniors, and it kind of got to my head more than anything. I'd realize midway through the second period, like, oh, damn, I forgot to do this, or I didn't do this, and then I'd be in my own head about things. So I think I've slowly gotten away from that. I think every single guy, on their own or with other guys might have little routines, or we call them tradies. It's I guess one of the terms we've come up with, whether that's, getting to the rink in the room, up when we're doing our warm-up on the ice, little things like that, but I wouldn't call them superstitions. Like I said, I think it just kind of gets to your head. I mean, especially as a goalie more than anything, so kind of try and keep the slate clean.
Hey, Coach, you're doing this every year now, and you've got so much experience. Does your thought process going into these tournaments get tweaked every year with every year of experience that you have, whether you're concentrating more on defense, offense, those type of things?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I think some of it depends, your team. Obviously, for guys to, I think the experience of getting here and playing in these, like we were just talking earlier, like you come off your league championship, you look at the crowds in the building. The environment's maybe a little bit different in some places, and you got to get here to the regionals, and some are great. Some have big crowds, and there's a lot of energy, and some are less, right? And so you've got to find your own way within your team. But I don't think, as far as the game, I think you kind of know where your team's at, and you just try and put together a game plan. Obviously, this was kind of unique because it was it was an even shorter turnaround, for coming out of Saturday and turn around and playing Thursdays. Usually you got till Friday or Saturday to get a couple extra days to maybe pre-scout some teams, but most of the time it's about your own team right now. And like I said, we've got guys that have gone through this, which helps. Our younger guys are learning, and that's why it's important to get to these points. But there's maybe a little bit, but at this time of the year, you're not changing a whole lot. I mean, your team's going to play how your team's going to play, and certainly there's things within the game you can change or tweak. But for the most part, as we all say, kind of the hay's in the barn, and let them go play and try and stay out of their way as best you can, because they know what's at stake.
For Ryan, take me through the save, number one, and then number two, have you ever gone viral before?
Yeah, it's kind of a rush. I can't remember if it was like a 3-on-2, and they kind of had a late guy coming in. They shot the puck, and I think Kells kind of went on one knee to deflect it, and I think it was kind of on its way to kind of hitting me somewhere in my in my chest, or in the center of my body, and then it kind of went off his stick and kicked out to my left side. And I kind of one of those ones where you can't really tell if it's going to go in, so you just kind of throw your leg at it, and you're a little bit off balance as you were already reacting to the initial shot. And then I kind of kicked it out and realized that it was, going right to a guy coming down kind of on Broadway. So I didn't really have time to kind of get my skate and dig in the ice and get a really big push over. So kind of just one of those ones where I almost had to just fall and flail at it and kind of just, throw whatever you can, whether it's your head or your glove at it. And I was lucky enough to kind of feel it, you're not really tracking it at that point, kind of just feel it go in there. And a little bit of a sigh of relief. I mean, it was kind of a big moment in the game with a couple of minutes in the second, and to go in 2-1 or 2-0 is kind of a really big difference, especially with the fact that they got a power play right after it too. So it was even bigger. I thought that we killed that penalty off as a team. It wouldn't have mattered if I made that save if they scored right after anyways. So kind of big by the team to kind of reset and get a kill off of it as well.
Coach, this one's for you. You had a game plan for Denver. You had a game plan in your championship game against, let me see, who was that? Western Michigan. Now you got Michigan Tech. Mm-hmm. Do things change, or do you still try to play your game, no matter what style the opponent might be?
Well, you try and play your game, but again, like we have a lot of familiarity with those teams. Certainly, Denver and Western, playing them 4 times. What we had success with, what we didn't. I mean, so that was the focus a little bit with those teams. But for the most part, you're playing your own game. Obviously, Tech does some things that we have to be aware of, and we'll go through that today. And make sure our guys know that, and not give them too much, but just enough to make sure that we're aware of some of the things that they do. And I think that's the same for every team that we play. We just had a little more familiarity with those teams.
Scott, how have you seen these guys, improve their puck protection and just tighten things up defensively? Obviously Ryan's been really good, but it seems like as a team, these guys are doing a really good job defensively as well right now.
Well, they are. I mean, I think, again, I think we've been a pretty good defensive team most of the year, and Ryan's a big part of that, but it's team defense. And, again, when I talked about the Christmas stuff, right, I mean, it seemed like every mistake we made was ended up, in a great scoring chance or in the back of our net. And conversely, when we had those opportunities, we weren't scoring. I think the last couple of weekends we've been able to find the net. Our special teams have been good. Our power play is scoring some goals. But everybody's, again, go back to the passenger thing, right? We haven't had any. Everybody's been on the same page, and again, I give our leaders a lot of credit for that, and making sure guys know how we need to play, and just reinforcing that. And the best thing is they have a great demeanor. The guys, our leaders, have a great demeanor. It's not just necessarily our captains; it's our older guys. I mean, Ryan's been a great leader. Listening to him talk, and Maddie, they're not wearing letters, but we've got a lot of guys in there that are pulling on that chain, so to speak, and it's fun. It's what you learn through the year, right? I mean, there's always ups and downs. We all want it to go as smooth as possible, but I think this team, like I've told you numerous times, they've done a lot of really good things over the year. Maybe we haven't been as consistent as we want to be, and right now, I like where our mindset is. I like that we've got some confidence. I like that we've got a little momentum, and we've got to use that moving forward here tomorrow.
Coach, I was on the road a couple weeks ago with your women's basketball team in Hayes, and they had 3 seniors who come back for a 5th year, come through the COVID year. And I believe on your roster you've got several 5th-year guys who played a key role, including Louie and Matt, who I believe have been paired together most of their career as well.
They played a lot together.
Right, but if you a lot of hockey, I always like to think that hockey is not really a statistical sport. So much of it is more subtle things like leadership and experience. They're both, I think, have played 180 games, which is crazy. If you could speak to the value of having those 5th-year guys back this year and the subtle role that's played in the team's success.
Well, it's been huge. I mean, again, I was super excited to have those guys want to come back, number one, because they had some opportunities, but they like being in Duluth, and they like being around their teammates, and I guess they want to deal with me for another year, so that was great. But even Noah had an opportunity to go, right? And he wanted to come back and have a better year and be a leader of this team, and that means a lot. And you can't replace those guys with freshmen. You can't. The experience that those guys have, the type of people they are, what they mean to our team, like everyone has a value. And some get more notoriety, like you said, some don't. But to get those guys back and have that experience and bring that personality and that mindset to the room is huge. And I think hopefully, at this time of the year, it helps us. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it helps us. And really excited that they're a part of it.
Any more questions?
A follow-up for Matt. Maybe share with us some of your memories of playing with Louie, some about, comparing your styles, but also your personalities. Maybe share a funny anecdote or something, like if you remember the first time you met him, and then how your friendship has grown, how you've grown as teammates together, line mates. It's pretty unique when you've got 2 defensive pairings playing together that long. So if you could talk about that.
Sure. Well, growing up, we weren't really friends. He was kind of on a rival team, so I wasn't a huge fan of him, obviously. But once we got to Duluth, obviously, we've played together a ton, and it's one of those things where when you play with someone that long, it just you definitely have like a chemistry with them. But that's with like being with anyone for that long. But I don't know. I mean, I obviously enjoy playing with the guy, and was super blessed to be able to come back and play another year with them. And honestly, just looking forward to playing with them tomorrow and keeping this role going, hopefully.
Can't think of too much. Obviously, they're good buddies, and obviously pretty hard to play against in practice and whatnot. So they push us, but they're just kind of funny, and the way they work off each other or chirp each other a little bit is pretty funny. So I enjoy being around those guys for sure.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys. Michigan Tech is practicing right now. They're going to be up here at the podium at roughly 2 o'clock Mountain Time. Thank you, guys.